Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast. It was yet another home win for the Reds today, who swept aside Nottingham Forest at Anfield. The 3-0 win saw Jota, Nunez and Salah get on the score sheet, but there were some good performances all over the field. However, the win felt a little shallow given the ongoing situation with Luis Diaz, whose parents were kidnapped in Colombia, with his father still missing. Hopefully by the time you listen to this, he'll be home safe and sound. I'm Chris Smith and I'm joined today by Dave, Usher and Dan Thomas, both of whom were at Anfield today. Dave, from a football perspective, this was a really satisfying afternoon. The lads did a really solid job out there, but obviously our thoughts are with Lewis right now.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. When things like this happen, you always get all these conflicting reports. And I went to the game today thinking everything was fine, and his dad had been found. There was a report about two of the kidnappers had been shot dead, and the other two had been taken into custody, and he was back with his family and that. And it turns out that was just complete bullshit, just not true at all. So you just always have to be so careful, what you read on social media and that.
Yeah, it wasn't even social media. It's the Daily Mirror or the Sunday Mirror reported it. Whatever. It's super irresponsible from them. To be honest,
they've lifted it from social media, haven't they? Because I did see the original tweet that started it, I think, and it looked like it was from an account in Colombia and that. So I suppose you just automatically, because it's in another country, you just think, oh yeah, that must be it. They know what they're talking about. When there's spoofers everywhere, it's not just over here where you've got them. So yeah, I went to the game actually thinking that everything was fine, and it turns out it's not. He's still missing. Obviously he wasn't going to be playing today, because as soon as you find something like that out, the first thing you do, you just jump on a plane home, which sounds like what's happened. Klopp, I think we've sent people over there with him, to look after him, Klopp said. So yeah, there's nothing anybody can do at this end except just hope for the best, and his teammates just put on a performance, which they did. It was an absolute certainty that Darwin was going to score today for his mate. Jota's got the first goal, and then he's gone and grabbed the shirt and that, which was a nice moment.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just terrible. You just have to hope that it all works out okay in the end. I mean, I've just seen that they're offering a 9 million reward for anyone who can help get him back, and they've got the army involved, loads of police, and I mean, I know this kind of thing happens quite a lot, in that part of the world, and in other parts of the world as well, where it's a way for them to make money. It's we'll kidnap people, hold for ransom, famous people, wealthy people, whatever. But what I find really strange about this is if you're going to get some random politician who people either don't like or aren't really bothered about, I sort of see why you do that, thinking you'll get away with it. But I mean, Luis Diaz must be the most popular person in Colombia, so any citizens or anything who see anything, they're gonna want to report it and that. It's I just don't know how you think you could possibly get away with something like this. It's just absolutely crazy that something like this has happened. It just feels surreal, doesn't it?
And you'd think, Dan, that you'd really hope that in this situation, in the end, he obviously we can't predict the future, but hopefully he will be okay, because the value is in getting the ransom for the hostage and everything. So although our thoughts go out to it and everything, you do hope that everything will be all right in the end. No less traumatic for him and his family. But I thought sort of Klopp, as he tends to do in these situations, handled it really well after the game. He said, how can you make a football game feel really important on a day like this? It's really difficult. I never struggled with that. It was always my safe space. But it was impossible to do that today, so he had to give the game an extra sense. This was fighting for Lucho.
Yeah, it's typical Jurgen, isn't it? He just always knows the right thing to say. And you can guarantee that the club will be looking after him. But it's such it's just a shocking thing to happen, really. It's kind of the thing that you would see in a television drama or a film, isn't it? It's just... And when it affects your club and your player, it's even more strange. I just hope that everything's okay, and he takes as long as he needs to get his head sorted. And The sooner he's back out, the better for him, because you get the feeling that football is his life. But yeah, very, very sad, and the lads definitely put on a show for him today, and obviously the celebration was there as well, which is nice to see. It was clearly planned out, and good on them for doing so. It's things like that send a real message of unity and strength. So that was very good, and yeah, I really feel for him, and I hope he's okay, and I hope his family are okay.
Especially because Jota's the one who came into the team to replace him. So it's kind of fitting that it was Jota who scored the goal and then went and got the shirt, because he wouldn't have even been playing if Diaz had been here.
Yeah, he sure did his job really well today. Obviously, Dave, our thoughts go out to Diaz and his family and everybody connected with the situation, but we move on to the game now, and the Reds did do a good job in Diaz's absence. All three of the forwards got on the score sheet. It's kind of what you were hoping for today, really, a comfortable win at home. No real alarm bells whatsoever. Another clean sheet, although there were a couple of scares when we got a little bit sloppy in the second half. But overall, a really comfortable, satisfying performance that gets us right back up there, challenging at the top of the table.
Yeah, I thought the first half was really good. Second half, not so much. But I think that with the second half, it was like, the job was done and we were just sort of seeing out the game without expending too much energy. So it was a little bit flat, the second half. But first half was good. Forest, I was a bit disappointed with their approach, to be honest. I mean, it's one thing like coming and defending, but I expected a bit more from them, like in terms of trying to counter-attack and that, and I just thought they were too focused on defending. And within about 5 minutes, like I said to John, I was like, you know what, there's no way these are going to hold out playing like this. It's not going to work. They were just too, like, they had 5 across the back, but they still looked vulnerable. Even with 5 across the back, we were still managing to get in. Like, everything was down our right-hand side. It's like, how many times did they need to see Szoboszlai running beyond Mo and Mo playing him in? And it was just happening time and time again, and like they just didn't figure it out. I said in the build-up to this, I thought we'd score twice from set pieces today because Forest are so bad defending set pieces. That never happened, but I think we had like 4 corners in the first half, maybe 5. We had 3 headers on 2 or 3 of them, and near misses on the others. And I'm like, these just cannot defend corners, So we never scored from them today, but, could easily have got a couple from corners. It's just, I mean, Forest are just not sorting that out at all. It's been a problem for a while. And it undermines, like, the good stuff that they do. But I just thought, I thought that the striker, I thought he was out. I thought he was going to be out for a while, but he come on. They brought him on the second half, and I don't know where that Chris Wood was. Was he injured, or did he just not pick him? It was just
he was injured.
Okay. So, and maybe
Big Div
the
injured
lads
as well today, wasn't he? That was a shame.
It was.
You guys gutted not to be able. Origi was injured today. Were you guys gutted not to see him?
Yeah. I don't know like what's up with him, but it's it's a shame like that he wasn't involved today. Would have been nice to. He'd have got a great reception, obviously. Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Forest there. Then I thought Steve Cooper just went like full shit house today, but the other lad's just coming back from injury, so he probably couldn't start. And Chris Wood's out. So yeah, I take that back. His hands were tired a little bit there, but they didn't offer anything. Not until the second half when we just dropped the tempo. And the first half was just it was a good test for us in terms of like when you come up against a team that's just defending and just getting men behind the ball. I thought we did a good job of getting around the sides, which is something that we don't always do, against these teams. And it always frustrates me that we try to go through the middle too much, and we didn't do that
do it
today.
very well against Everton last week.
Yeah,
we
until Harvey came on and we upped the tempo. But before that, it was all central, wasn't it? It's just everything trying to go through the middle. We didn't do that today. We were getting around the sides a lot with Dom making those runs. You've got Trent who could do that, but that didn't really happen today. Trent did stay central, which is a problem at times because we don't have that width on the right. But we had it today because Mo was getting the ball, cutting inside, and then Dom's running on the overlap. And time again, we got in down that side. We didn't really do much down the other side, but we didn't need to. I just thought like we looked sharp. We played some good stuff. It was only a matter of time before we broke them down. At no point did they ever think this is going to be a long day. It's going to be hard to break them down. I just thought if you want to play like that, you're not going to keep us out just playing that way, and they didn't. I mean, we've won 3-0, but that was like third gear at most. We could have easily stepped it up if we'd have needed to. So all in all, yeah, just a satisfying performance. 3 more points, clean sheet, goals for 3 of the forwards. I mean, yeah, what more can you ask for?
Yep, nothing really. Dan, Dave mentioned Soboslai there again. A big part in today's victory. I thought his link-up play with the forwards was great, and there's a sort of a nice little triangle developing now with him and Mo are always looking for each other. Mo is always looking for Darwin, and the chemistry that we're seeing develop between those 3 players, I think, it bodes really well for moving forward.
Yeah, we look very fluid when we're going forwards. I think today you saw how good Soboslai actually was, because Forest sat in deep, and that's what they're going to do. That's how they operate. They're going to come to Anfield. If we can nick a draw, great. If not, then they just keep the score down. And credit to them, they defended well today. I loved our patience. We just kept, we stuck to what we believed in, and eventually the breakthrough came, and it always was going to, as Dave has said. But yeah, there's clearly something good brewing. I love Soboslai's ability to just get the ball around the corner. He seems to choose his back heel moments very well. Probably better than anyone I've ever seen, actually. Certainly play for Liverpool, just knows when to back heel and when to not, and constantly on the front foot. I'd love to see how many, what his running was in that game, because I'll wager it was quite high. He works his nuts off. He's just great, isn't he? He's just great to watch. And the amount of times he gets forward, we've talked a lot on this podcast in previous seasons about midfield maybe not contributing enough goals, and he's not scored lots of goals. He's scored a couple, but what he is doing is he's breaking from midfield, timing that. I always call it a Freddie Ljungberg run. Making that break forward, and one of these days he's going to be in about 10 yards of space and he'll score a great goal. But he is good at overlapping, getting the ball in, and he set up one today, but doing that, obviously the tapping for Darwin, it was not a difficult goal in the end. And then obviously Forest went full Keystone Cops for the third goal, but it counts as an assist for Soboslai. I know you was having the Aquilani conversation. Darwin's assist off the post the other day, it's like the time Aquilani arsed the ball to, I think it was Gerrard at Burnley that time. Soboslai is. I can't remember what Jurgen once said. I think about Mkhitaryan when he went to Dortmund. I think he said that Mkhitaryan fits Dortmund like a bucket under an arse.
An arse in a bucket.
And Soboslai is very much that. He oozes class, and I think today you saw just how important he is against a team where just Forest had no attacking intent today. And it's difficult to criticise them. The only thing I'll criticise them for is the time wasting, because I absolutely despise it. But
the goalkeeper was really bad early on, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. But that got knocked on the head when they fell behind. Forest have got no strikers. They've had injury problems, and they defended well. Full credit to them for that. They did make our life hard, but once we got the first goal, they had no plan B, and we kind of got on top. And Dom had a very strong game. He always looked like he was going to create something with that little break into the box.
Dave, Dan said like he does that really well when he was talking about sort of the Freddie Ljungberg run. I'm thinking like, what doesn't he do really well?
I know.
He's just phenomenal, and I can't remember. Like, obviously, I'm living away from the UK these days. I have to sort of like, I'm only get back 2 or 3 times a year. I can't remember the last time I looked forward to being in the stadium and seeing a new signing as much as I am looking forward to seeing him in December. I've got a couple of games in December, so as fun as it's going to be back and see you all and be in the stadium and stuff. What I'm most looking forward to is like getting a look at him in the flesh.
Not Darwin.
I had the Darwin experience last year.
No, but it's a different experience this year because
Yeah.
like he's flying.
I saw
now.
Darwin's first Anfield goal in that game against West Ham. He played really well that night, so
Yeah.
I feel like I satisfied that craving.
No, Dom's just something else, isn't he? He's just, as you said there, what doesn't he do well? Because like he can literally do everything. You know, he's 2-footed, he's quick, he's got like a great engine, great passer, brilliant shot, he can dribble, and the defensive side of the game, he does all of that as well. You know, like the ground he covers, pressing, getting back, helping out in defence. He's just like the complete midfield player, which is funny because he wasn't even really playing in midfield for Leipzig. They played him like on the right hand side, basically like in Mo's position for us. But you see him like he just runs the game. He's just so good, just like he's a proper Rolls Royce, and he's only going to get better as well. It's not like he's peaked or anything. You know, there's much more to come, and I think, although he's only got a couple of goals, and I don't think he's scored in the league, as I think the goals are both been in cups. Might be wrong. But I do think that he's like a 10-goal a season midfield player as well. It's not happened yet, but you can see he's got that in him. And he might just be one of those who goes on a bit of a run where he'll score like 4 in 5 or something. Because he's getting forward, he's getting shots in, he's a threat. And like, what a signing! It's funny though, because like you see what Bellingham did against Barcelona, and like the lads we were having a discussion about it. Like, you know, does it still like hurt that we didn't get Bellingham? And like, it does, and it probably always will. But imagine how we'd be feeling if Dom wasn't like just amazing.
Yeah,
He's really softened the blow of us not getting Bellingham. It's like, well, you know, and Gravenberch to an extent as well.
Let me flip that as well. Imagine how we'd be feeling if we signed Mason Mount.
Oh my god! Well, I never wanted Mason Mount anyway. So
me neither, dude.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I can safely say like I was not advocating that signing. So that was like. That was I don't even know if it was a bullet dodge because I don't know how serious we were. We definitely wanted him, but I think when like the money became apparent, like what Chelsea wanted and what Mason Mount wanted, and we rightly just went, nah, fuck that, and just left them to United. You know, let them overpay.
We thought we could take Chelsea to the cleaners, and because they needed to get rid and raise money.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as United came to the rescue with their big money bids, and he
still
apparently
not
came
the
on
worst.
today and stacked the place out. So
sorry, Chris. Yeah, it's still not the worst signing United made this summer.
The goalkeeper.
Who's that then?
What's his name?
The goalkeeper. What's his name?
I'm not falling for that one, Dave. I've played this game. You've done me with this before. You did me outside the ground with this.
Yeah.
Just coming on to something that you mentioned very briefly. Szoboszlai scored against Villa, so he has scored.
Right. Okay.
He scored that left-footed.
He didn't have an assist. That's what it was. I read something like, and you've got like your fucking banter merchants on Twitter were talking about how he had no assist or something like that. I think it was like some fucking dickhead United fan. Pointing out that Johnny Evans had an assist or something and Szoboszlai didn't, and yet we're all going on about Szoboszlai, and it's like, fuck, do you know what I mean? Like, just daft, just absolutely stupid and embarrassing. But even the fact that he didn't have any assist, I mean, I always say assist is just a bullshit stat anyway, and case in point, like Darwin gets an assist when the ball comes off the post and someone scores. Szoboszlai, Brighton, he puts that perfect ball across the box and Gravenberch misses from like 2 yards out. He hits the bar. Well, what more can Szoboszlai do to lay on a goal? He can't put the ball in himself. He can only create the chance for somebody else. And if they don't take that chance, he doesn't get credited with an assist. But does that really make any difference to, people going, oh, he's got no assist? Well, yeah, but that's not his fault that he's got no assist. It's not like he's not creating chances. So he's got 2 today, so he's off the mark there. But it's such a pointless assist, like a pointless stat going on about assists, because there's so many variables in that, which is probably why the nerds have brought in all those other things like expected assists and
Pass before the pass,
yeah,
that
and,
kind of stuff. Yeah, because Dom is a big pass before the pass guy, because he's breaking from midfield. He plays Mo in, who plays Darwin in.
Yeah.
Today, for instance, and then Darwin has the shot and it falls to Jota, and
It's
they go
exactly
1-0
that.
up.
He's not always going to be playing the final pass, but he's the one like breaking the lines with his pace and running forward and creating danger and that. So, yeah, I think like the nerd stats actually mean a lot more than just the basic assist. It's like it's all like that. Big chances created and all of that stuff. That's a more like reliable number than just the fact, oh look, Johnny Evans has got 1 assist and Szoboszlai's got none. Shut up. Just shut up. Those stats are they're only worth mentioning when it's something like Alisson's got more goals than Richarlison or something like that, and then it's like, yeah, I'm having that one, yeah.
You know what I like about him as well, though, and you know how we were getting like overrun big time last year, and with Szoboszlai, it's not like, if we'll lose the ball and teams are countering on us, it's not like he always wins the ball back, but he sure as fuck slows down the momentum of those attacks. He gets himself back into position really quickly, and he's harrying the guy on the ball, and then we have time to get everybody back, and it just completely kills the momentum of those counter-attacks, which we were getting absolutely killed with last year. And I think it's like an underlooked aspect of his game. He did it several times today, especially in the second half, when we did get a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, because he covers so much ground, doesn't he? That's the thing. He never stops.
Yeah. All right. So shall we move on to the goal then, Dan? It did take us half an hour to get it. We did have to be quite patient, and it came via the counter attack. Mo to Darwin. Good interplay between those two again. Darwin gets a really good shot off. Keeper saves it. Parries it out to Jota, who does the business. Now I know you're a big fan of Jota. We talked about it on the pod a lot in midweek, but he's really coming through for us at the moment. Like he's putting the goals in, he's clinical with his finishing, high percentage conversion of chances, just really getting back to where he was a couple of years ago in the almost quadruple season.
Yeah, it's a typical Diogo Jota goal, wasn't it? He just seems to know in the right place to stand. The ball comes straight to him. Watch it back and hit it into the floor as well, making it even more impossible for the goalkeeper to save. But he scored that lovely goal against Toulouse in midweek, where he just jinked his way through, and the foul, the shout was brought out. The kind of the movement on it. I get that entirely. But yes, he's got a very good habit of standing in the right place. He evidenced that again today, and I've just completely screwed up my lines again there, haven't I? I'm an outtake. I'm a walking, talking outtake.
He does look a bit like a hobbit.
You said that, not me. I think you was looking at the start of the season, and he was the one who you was asking the most questions about, and I think he's answered them quite emphatically and rather insensitively, to say it feels, but a lot more questions seem to be about Diaz at the moment than Jota. He's got himself where you'd probably think that he is probably one of the first three names. Well, maybe not first three, but certainly in that front three, you would think that he's in it now, and it's up to everyone else to displace him because he's putting the ball in the net, and that's what he's there to do.
But that's good though, right? It's always has been, and it's always going to be apart from when we literally just had the three of them. That time where we did have five. It's always like a fluid situation where the man in form is the man with the shirt, and I don't care who it is, Dave. As long as there are three of them that are playing well out of the five, it can only be beneficial for us.
Yeah, John B sent me a message during the game. Like, John's like king of the research. And he's like, I've got some stats for you.
He's not necessarily the king. He's just the only.
He's the only one who does. Yeah, he's the only one of us who does research.
He does it really, really well, but I wouldn't be calling him a king.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But he sent me like a message like right at the end of the game, and he said, the front five, I've got 28 goals between them already this season. And a minute later, like we scored, like Gakpo scored, and I was like, sent him a note, 29, and then I had to say, oh no, it's 28 because it got disallowed. But yeah, 28 so far for the front five. So I mean, I don't know what they're on pace for. That, and you think that's going to be like It's be around 100. Because we're only...
So 10 games, times that by almost 4.
So it's
about
cup
100.
games as well. So 14 games
it's
we've
cup
played.
games, okay.
So that's 2 a game. So that's mad. So the front 5 between them are averaging 2 goals a game so far. So over the course of a season, we're going to play 50 odd games. So yeah, they're on course for over 100 goals at this point. And this is with like Darwin's only just getting warmed up. You know, Darwin's going to start becoming prolific. It's been stop-start so far. You know, you've got Bilbo Jota scoring pretty much every time he plays. Like there today, he's like Frodo on the spot again, isn't he? But no, on that first goal, right? I said this to John like at half time. I was like, you know, like Jota's like finish. Obviously, it's an easy goal. It comes out to him and he just puts it in. If that had fell to Darwin, I'd have been nervous. I'd have been like, oh, don't fuck it up. Because those are the chances that Darwin's likely to miss. You know, when he ran through and he hit that shot, it was like a really good shot, a great effort. He'd had a couple of other efforts before that. He was looking sharp, looking lively. But if that Jota chance had fell to Darwin, I'd have been like thinking, oh, there's a 50-50 chance he's not going to score this. Because it's like when he's got like a little bit of time, and it's like me with the 2-foot putts. It's like the ones you're expected to make. Yeah. They're the ones that can go wrong. But he was just looking like so good, and like I thought it was a decent save by the keeper. I know you two think he should have done better. I just thought it was a good shot. Going right across him, and Jota's just in the right place, as he often is, and he's never going to miss the chance like that. I mean, we spoke the other night about he's just the most clinical of all the forwards we've got. But yeah, I mean that goal had been coming. We'd had chances, we'd looked dangerous every corner we had, and once the first goal was just going to be key to it. Like once we got one, I just didn't see Forest ever scoring, and then if they had to come out and chase it a bit, they were always going to get caught.
You can subscribe to the Liverpool Way podcast on all the major platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon or Podbean. Just search for the Liverpool Way, leave us a review and hit subscribe to automatically receive all new episodes. You can also head to liverpoolway.co.uk and grab a TLW season ticket for just £3 a month. There's tons of exclusive content, including match reports from every Liverpool game, weekly Premier League roundups, the TLW diary, and access to the members-only forum. Lastly, you can follow us on social media at The Liverpool Way on Twitter and at The Liverpool Way TLW on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the stats now for Darwin. In his last... since Newcastle, he got 2 against Newcastle, and then he scored he got an assist in the next game against Villa, nothing against Wolves, then he scored against West Ham at home. He was on the bench for that Spurs game, didn't come on. He got an assist at Brighton, he got an assist against Everton, and he scored today. So he's contributing in every game he plays, really, with goals and assists. And he's got, how many has he got now all season? Like, he's got 6 goals in 13 games this season and 5 assists. So
yeah,
that's
and they're not full games
either.
Man. Substitute appearances, or he plays for an hour. But that's what I was saying about him hasn't really got started, because like with the international breaks and everything else, it's just all been so stop-start. But he just needs just a run. Not just him, you know. That I think the whole team needs it. But like we've had, since he's come back from like the international break, we had the derby, then we've had the the Europa League game, and then a game today. So like the last 2 games, he's got 2 goals and 2 assists in those 2 games. Yeah, I'm giving him the assist for the one that came off the post, because it is an assist, whether like he meant it or not. So 2 goals, 2 assists in the 2 games. But this is what I'm saying, is like he's involved now. He's playing these games because it's not stop-start. And I think that the next couple of weeks is, you know, he'll get into, he's already in a rhythm. But I do think he's going to start like banging in goals. But then we're going to have another international break, and then we come back and we play City in a fucking half-12 game, and it's just really frustrating that we're having to deal with that. But I do think like he's in a rhythm now. He's in a groove, because it's his all-round game. It's not just the fact like that he's scoring, and that's like so much of what he's doing now is not what he was doing when his confidence wasn't there last season. He was a bit like, he was so hit and miss with like his link up play and that, wasn't he? He could be like clumsy. Sometimes he'd be like, the ball would get stuck under his feet, or he'd be like falling over and stuff. And now it's like everything he does is just crisp. Like there's the right weight on all the passes that he's playing. He's dribbling, and he just looks like just confident, relaxed now, and that's the difference. He's relaxed. He's not on edge all the time.
I think today was the best example of that I've seen so far this year. He just looked completely at one with himself and had a really good game. Got his goal. Dan, did you expect him to put it in, even though it was 2 yards out?
Yes. He is a bit of a footballing box of chocolates, but he is.
Do the impression. He
wasn't going to. Oh no! All of my impressions must be of a certain persuasion. Chris. It's
all right.
But I thought he was going to score on Thursday as well, and let's be honest, that was an absolutely appalling miss after he'd done so well. But we were talking about this kind of preamble, weren't we? And he did have to adjust to the ball from Szoboszlai. It wasn't the easiest finish in the world, and it was lovely to see it go in because the lad's playing really well. Dave's not just blowing smoke. He is playing very, very well. He keeps getting interrupted by all these jabroni international breaks, which are getting on my nerves, as they always do. But the next international break, we have that very big game at the City, multiplayer between then and kind of before we know we'll be in that busy festive period, and Darwin is going to do really well. I'll be completely honest with you, Chris. I've always been a big admirer of him. I wanted to sign him when he tore us to shreds around Anfield. So yeah, I did think he was going to score, but as Dave's already said, he's very pleased for him because he's taken a lot of stick, not just on this podcast from certain people, but from some of the chippy knobheads, as Dave calls them.
Who are the same people, funnily enough?
Shit Andy Carroll and all that. It's just if you're that unintelligent and that unknowledgeable about football, to not be able to see that there's legions of difference between the two players. I mean, I don't think Andy Carroll's been able to run at any speed, never mind the speed Núñez eats up the pitch. So yeah, I'm kind of getting as effusive as Dave does here, but yes, I'm very happy with Darwin and I'm very pleased for him, and long may these goals continue. I actually really liked his goal on Thursday. That was some finish, that on Thursday. It was emphatic.
Yeah.
And let's have a bit more of that. I don't think he'll play midweek against Bournemouth. I do think he might be able to beat up on Luton in next Sunday. So I'm playing with fire because I've talked about that game twice now. 1-0 loss incoming. Núñez red card.
He got the shit Andy Carroll chant today as well, Don't know
he did, but it was quite small.
But it was from that like bizarre header.
Yes.
I don't know what he was even thinking there, but yeah, so he does that like really shit header, and then Forest fans are singing that. I'm like, you're singing that, but he's already scored and he set one up against you, and now's not the time, lad. It's like, if he's having a stinker.
It's that Midlands banter merchant thing, though, isn't it?
But you got to have some awareness, surely, and they just obviously didn't have it.
They don't know people from that part of the country. The flyover part. At least Nottingham has something going for it, other than fucking Leicester. Don't get me started on fucking Leicester. Don't start on
Leicester again.
Oh no, please do.
They're flying. No. They're going to be back next season, so
yeah, I'll have another go at them next year. I have 2 opportunities to have a go at them, so I'll bide my time on that.
Just on Darwin's goal, though, just a quick one on that. I actually thought it was an own goal. Where I'm sitting, I couldn't see it come off, and the defender's reaction made it look like he'd put it in the net, so I didn't celebrate as much as I normally would. And it was only when I seen Darwin over by the corner flag, I'm like, oh, well, he's actually claiming that. It must have come off him. But I couldn't even see it, so I feel like a little bit cheated at the moment there. I didn't get to go mad about it.
Because you can't rely on George for any confirmation in those circumstances either, can you?
No,
because he gives own goals to our players.
He does. He's worse than me. But you know what George did today? And like me and John both just looked at each other like, oh no, George. He called Forest. He called him Notts Forest. I was like, oh, that away end, they're going to be fucking fuming. They don't like being called Notts. It's Nottingham. It's like Notts County and Nottingham Forest. But yeah, they hate it when people call them Notts Forest. And you think like George has been in that job for so long, surely like he knows that. So it's like, is he trolling them there? Has he done that like deliberately to wind them up? But
Hope so.
Notts Forest.
Nice. You must have been buzzing off that Darwin overhead kick thing as well, Dave.
Yeah. The thing because like I've seen enough of him, I knew he was going to do it. As soon as anyone else, you'd think, no, they're just going to bring the ball down and like lay it back to someone on the edge of the box. But because it was Darwin and like the ball bounced, and I'm like, oh, he's going to do an overhead kick here, and then he did it. And like, I mean, you're never really going to score from there, but it wasn't far off. Like, it was only about a yard over the bar. He's like, he's got hold of it. It's a good effort. But yeah, that was just pure Darwin, wasn't it?
The full experience.
Yeah.
So Dan, we're 2-0 up at half time. I think after that the game kind of became a little bit of a non-event really. We started the second half slowly. Forest sort of came out of their shell a little bit as they had to, made a few substitutions. We saw the big lad up front come on, but that wasn't until 20 minutes to go. I don't know, really. It was just kind of a quiet second half. It really did feel like that we were trying to see things out, as Dave said earlier, without expending too much energy at this stage of the season.
Yeah, it was energy conservation, wasn't it, Chris? There was no kind of pressure on us to do anything. The pressure was on Forest, and we were like, well, we'll take 2-0. If they want to come on to us and have a go, then we'll ping them on the break. We did threaten that a couple of times late on. There was one spectacular foul. It was quite late on. I think it was. I can't remember the name of the lad in midfield. He booted. I think it was Darwin. I think Darwin was away, and he just scythed him down to stop the counter attack. So yeah, it was just a case of let's get through the game. And it looks like we've had no injuries, no suspensions, despite Alexis McAllister getting booked yet again.
Another one
for the scrap. But again, I blame Jurgen for it, because Jurgen keeps picking him there, even though...
Wait. You don't blame Mr. Kavanagh? You're telling me you're not blaming Mr. Kavanagh for that?
I thought he was I thought he was dreadful again today. I thought
he was fine really poor. Compared to what we normally see. Once again, he's not perfect, but overall, that was an okay refereeing performance. There's not a problem at all with that. But you have just got this thing about referees. Well,
I didn't even realise who it was. So after 6 minutes, when Mo Salah's in the Taz mission, getting
that's the linesman, though, Dan. That's right in front of the linesman.
Whilst that's true, like I didn't realise that Salah was just going to be another victim of the Nottingham submission machine. You know, like Forest players are trying to swap shirts mid-match, and nothing got given. I went apoplectic at that. I was furious at that decision. And then later in the game, there was a soft one where Salah was being fouled, but not half as much as he was being fouled over there, and he come across and blew his whistle. So it's the inconsistency that gets me, Dave. And
you want
it's inconsistent within the game. What was that? Sorry.
Pick your battles.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to get angry over every refereeing decision, you're going to be in a permanent state of rage. I just save it for the ones what are actually, the genuinely costly, horrendous decisions, because there's so many of them. I would happily have him referee all of our games for the rest of the season, because he's had this one, and I think he had the Villa one. It was either Villa or West Ham. It was one of those two. And again, you were kicking off about him, Dan, and I'm like, fucking hell, I would love refereeing performances like that in every game compared to what we're normally getting. This fella is like nowhere near. Like, because he might not get everything right, but with him, I think the difference is if he gets something wrong, I don't automatically think he's doing this deliberately to fuck us over. I just think, okay, he's got that wrong. I've got no suspicions about him, whereas other referees, I've definitely got suspicions about. This fella, let him referee all of our games. I've probably jinxed it
Dave,
now next time he referees, but he's been so much better than other refs.
Dave, do you think there might actually be a correlation, though, between solid refereeing performances and Liverpool winning 3-0 or 3-1 at home, do you think?
I thought you were going to say a correlation between solid refereeing performances and referees with hair. I didn't see where you were going there. I thought it was going to be a bald mank ref jab. Obviously, that helps, because there's no reason to be complaining about anything, but... No, I just think maybe it was a relatively easy game for him. He's not had any major decisions to make, but he doesn't make it all about him. That's all I'll say. You know, he's trying to just referee, and yet he did let some things go, but he also let them go for us as well. He was trying to let the game flow. Now you can't let that one on Mo in the first half go. That's you've got to blow the whistle there. But at the same time, the linesman's like 3 yards away, looking right at it, and if he doesn't give it, the referee's maybe thinking, all right, you know, he's got a good view of it. Maybe Salah was backing in, and that's what's caused it. Like, it's a bad decision, but that's more on the linesman than anything else. And I just think overall he was pretty good. Even like the McAllister booking, I feel it was a little bit harsh, but I can totally understand why he did it. And there was one of the Forest bookings which I thought was a little bit harsh as well. But generally speaking, you know, you're not going to get every single decision right, and I'll take that kind of performance all day.
Okay, fair enough.
That's fair.
Dan, we were relatively comfortable. There were a couple of moments for Forest in the second half, namely the volley that hit the underside of the bar. Lovely strike, really unlucky to not bounce in the net there. If the game goes to 2-1, maybe we get a little edgy, a little bit nervous. Thankfully, that wasn't the case, and then we put the bed. I think it was from a Forest long throw, and it's headed out to Soboslai, who just twats it forward towards Mo. And I mean, I know you like to talk about goalkeepers, but the defender lets it bounce. The goalkeeper is clueless what to do. Salah puts it into an empty net. How did you see that situation as part of the goalkeepers' union?
For me, there looks to be a lack of communication. The keeper has made a good, strong start to come and get that, so he should probably follow through with it. But I'd need to look back at who's said what. But when the goalkeeper's there, he should just deal with it, to be honest. If you come up that far out of your goal, there's nothing to lose by sticking it in the corner, you know, back where it's come from or wherever. But when that happens, it looks completely ridiculous, and it did. I couldn't believe that it had happened, but at the same time, it was so transparent that it was going to.
It was.
I thought that was going to happen, or I thought it was going to bounce up and the goalkeeper was going to give a free kick away. I don't think it would have been a red card because there was cover, but yeah, that's the alternative. But it was so obviously going to go wrong, and I can't put my finger on why. He just knew what was going to happen.
I think goalkeeper.
I think it was an awkward ball. It was like it was in a really awkward position for both of them. You know, it just kind of like, do we head it? Do we let it bounce? That it was precisely between the two of them, and it went badly wrong.
The keeper needs to just stay where he is and let the defender head it back to him. As soon as he comes out, the defender's like dealing with that, and then the defender gets a shout because he leaves it. So the keeper comes running out, he gives him a shout, and then the keeper just is all over the place, doesn't even get the ball. And you can see as soon as it goes in, the defender's like screaming at the keeper because he obviously had a shout from him. But he's got no business running out there. But you could see it coming a mile off because the defender didn't see the goalkeeper. And I thought what was going to happen was he was going to try and head it back to him. And then the keeper's not there and Mo's going to run through and score. So that didn't quite happen because he got a shout, so he left it. But as soon as the goalkeeper come running out like that, you knew, there's trouble here. You know, something's going to happen, and it did. It's like and we didn't really do much in the second half, and we've just got that like present, which killed the game completely. Because as you said, if Forest had got back to 2-1, you never know what happens then. But so the third goal was vital because that just completely kills it. But we weren't really pushing to get that, especially like after the substitutions. Like when Darwin went off specifically, I'm not just saying that because he's my boy, but I felt like bringing him off was a kind of a statement of like, you know, and then Harvey goes in the front three and it was like, okay, we're just seeing this out now, we're not actually like pushing to get another goal. That was the message that I got from that, and then and that's how the game played out really. We weren't really doing a great deal like in attack anymore. But we didn't need to because at 3-0, you know, that's it. Like, it's just game over, isn't it?
Can I just jump in there and be a complete bastard and say that the Elanga hit the bar at 3-0?
I did think that, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I did think, though, that's like, fine. The way the game had started to go, Forest all of a sudden seemed to be getting on the ball a little bit more than they were, and it didn't translate to chances, but you could feel okay, there's a little bit of a shift here, and they're starting to think, okay, we might get something, and then they start making like attacking substitutions as well. So if they had scored at 2-0, you know, it suddenly gets a bit edgy. So yeah, the third goal was vital, and once that went in, that was it. It didn't matter what Forest did after that, and they did nearly score, as you say. They hit the bar. I think it was Elanga again, had another chance, another volley, similar position, and he totally fucking ballooned it into the top tier of the
He had a decent chance in the first half as well.
Yeah.
And I was getting worked up at that point, Dave, because I love my clean sheets.
Yeah.
You do. You got it in the end, though. That's fair enough. Dave, it's another goal for Salah. More often than not, even if it's late in games and we're winning and it looks pretty comfortable, he just gets himself on the score sheet. It happened in midweek. Apparently now he's only the third player in our history to score in the first 5 home games at Anfield in the league. The club didn't mention who the other 2 are. I think we can all probably speculate on that. I don't know. But I'm going to piss you off here. And I just saw a tweet from a guy called Michael Reed that's been widely retweeted, so I hope it's true. And it says, if Luis Diaz's goal versus Spurs hadn't been incorrectly ruled out for offside, Mo Salah would have now broken the record for consecutive Premier League appearances with at least 1 goal or assist, 16. The current record is 15, held by Jamie Vardy and Salah himself.
Fucking hell. Yeah, that game's going to take a lot of getting over. Every time I look at the table and see Tottenham at the top, it really fucking bothers me. They're in a totally false position. There should be an asterisk next to that. And like, that is the only reason why they're top. There should be an asterisk. I don't care what anyone says. There should be. They're in a false position. Because
they'd have 3 less and we'd have 3 more.
Yeah, they do not deserve to be top of the table. And they've had such an easy run. They've had by far like the easiest run of fixtures. So they're in a false position there anyway. They're not going to stay there. We all know that. But yeah, I'm just getting like really pissed off with Spurs at the moment. And it stems from that. And I wasn't their fault what happened. It's just their reaction to it. You know, they've just like really pissed me off, like the way their fans have reacted and the shit the manager came out with, and just fuck Spurs. Sooner they're
You're not a big
off the
fan
top,
of Big
the better.
Ange, are you?
No,
you haven't really had a say about this on the pod so far. You've been writing about it in your roundups every week.
Don't trust him.
No.
Something off about him.
You've really taken a...
There's something off about him. Like he won't look people in the eye. Watch him in his interviews. He looks at the floor all the time. There's just something off about him. And then there's the whole embracing the Robbie Williams thing as well. Like that's a red flag. But no,
that's a good song though, to be honest, man.
Oh my god,
Angels is a classic.
Oh my god,
what's wrong with Angels?
Oh my god, this is shocking,
mate. As a guy who embraces like Five, they're your favourite band. Basically,
they're not my favourite band.
Bon Jovi.
That's right.
I corrected myself.
Third favourite.
But you're a huge fan of 90s boy band pop, though, to be fair to you.
Yeah, but no, Robbie Williams is just... no, I'm appalled by that.
That's a good song.
It's not.
Dan, what do you reckon about this? Are you on board with Robbie Williams' Angels as a classic pop song or not?
Angels is a good song, yes. Do I welcome its presence at a football match? Probably not. Do I welcome it for Big Ange and his bloody poxy 2-1 win against 18 men, because that's how it felt. That match felt and still feels like a 2000s WWE match, where you had Vince McMahon as the special guest referee, Shane McMahon as the special guest timekeeper, and Anthony Taylor as special guest linesman, and get Howard Webb to be the other special guest linesman, special guest timekeeper, the Graham Paul or whoever, Ferguson, that's how it felt. Mourinho can be the special guest ring announcer. I'm not over that match either.
Right.
It's still one of the most scandalous things I've ever seen, and whilst there's going to be a lot of eye rolling from you two here, it's made me distrust referees even more.
Well, certain referees, yeah, but here's the problem I've got with it now. It's forgotten about. No one's asked, and nothing's changed. Those people are back doing the jobs after 1 week off. Curtis Jones is still suspended and still not playing. He's back now, but nothing changed after that. It was like that happened, and then nothing's changed. The same people are still in positions, and we got screwed. Tottenham's top of the league, and it's like everyone's moved on. And if anyone mentions it, it's like, oh, you stop going on about it.
Moaning Scousers.
Yeah, it's.
But
so
by the same
fucking
token, you
frustrating.
look at like Burnley getting their asses handed to them yesterday, massive screw job, and like a month ago, Vincent Kompany was just saying you got to suck this thing up. So like there was a chance, there really was a chance for clubs to come together and demand an improvement in standards, demand changes to VAR, but they basically just shit out of it short-sightedly, and now other people are getting screwed from. We'll probably be all right from this point on, to be honest. Like, I don't think people will fuck us over that badly again, just because of what happened previously. I think we'll probably end up getting more favourable decisions in big games than we would have got previously. But there was a real chance for wholesale change there. It didn't happen, mainly because the other clubs just was like, oh yeah, sorry Scousers, you have to suck this thing up. So good luck living with that.
Yeah, what Sean Dyche was doing and then last week he's fucking screaming blue murder about like one decision, one like borderline decision that could go either way, and he's talking about it like it's the fucking biggest injustice, like it was like the Great Train Robbery or something. It's like, hang on a minute, that was just a decision that could have gone either way, and you're like making a big thing of it. And then loads of people jumped on the bandwagon and were talking about it. I'm like, fucking hell, what happened to us? Only got like a little bit more publicity than that. It was just that thing in the derby. Those things happen every single game of football, and yet they were trying to make out that was like something outrageous. And I'm like, you cheeky bastard, the way you were one of those who was saying, yeah, these things happen, you've just got to accept it and move on. And then the next thing, like, one decision goes against him, and he's like, he's giving it all that, and his fucking players as well.
Everton, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hey, and ball, etc.
Do you know what cracks me up though? Before we started today, we were watching the Everton game in our place, and my wife doesn't get that animated about footy from time to time at all, really, but she fucking hates Pickford with a passion. She's like, oh, that fucking horrible prick. He's like, oh, she just absolutely hates it. I think he's like her most hated person on the planet involved in any sport whatsoever. She's like, oh, that fucking Pickford really grinds my gears, man. And he was an horrible bastard today as well, but like that Everton's win today probably ends your dream for another year, right, Dave?
No, it goes with what I said the other night as well. I think you could take 12 points off them and they would still finish above the 3 newly promoted teams, because the three of them are 15, fucking shocking. I genuinely do think that like Everton, even with a 12-point deficit, they'd still finish 4th from bottom. But those 3 teams are so bad, they might not even get 12 points. They're just awful, the 3 of them. And Everton are obviously... Sean Dyche knows what he's doing. He's the perfect manager for a club in their desperate situation. He just knows how to be down at the bottom and do enough to just get results. They've won today, and that's one of those where I don't think West Ham can play twice a week. They've had enough experience with it. They should be able to, but I think they struggle. Newcastle are struggling with it. Brighton are struggling with it a little bit. So, the Thursday-Sunday thing, it just affects teams in different ways. And West Ham were obviously like flat today, and Everton, they know how to defend. They're no pushovers.
Right. Another good win for Villa, though. They're only a point behind us, having played the same number of games. So, have you revised your opinion on Unai Emery being? No,
I do think he's a good manager. I think Villa are a bit of a fraud team. I don't think they're like what everyone makes them out to be. But he's obviously a good manager. Look at the difference he's made in them since he came in. But I don't think they'll stay where they are. Again, they've had like quite an easy run of fixtures as well. Once the tough games come around, well, we'll see how they do then. The one thing I will say about Villa is they're handling like the Thursday-Sunday thing much better than other teams are. So, got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, but Villa are only playing FC Dog and Duck.
Yeah, but it's the travel. It's not the difficulty of the opponents, Dan. It's like the travelling that you go into like the middle of nowhere on a Thursday night and then you're coming back and you're playing on Sunday. It's fine if you're used to that and you've got a big squad, but Villa are playing like a strong team in those games as well. I think that might catch up with them in the end as well.
I wouldn't call Birmingham in the middle of nowhere, but I take your point.
No, I'm just talking about when they're doing away games
in the Europa League, right? Or are they in the Conference League?
They're in the Conference.
Yeah.
Conference League, right. Okay, so any other observations from today, Dan?
Clean sheet. I was doing a little dance on my way out about that because I've said on this podcast before that I'm sick of conceding first, and we've seemed to have cut that out since the international break. The 14th of the season before we have our 15th. So I'm really glad to. I mean, again, did we have much to do today against Forest? No, of course we didn't. Forest weren't looking to score. Forest were playing for 0-0, but we were very, very comfortable in that. We were very, very comfortable against Everton as well. So that's 2 home games in a week where we've shut out the opposition and not really looked like conceding. So I'm all for that. That's something that I want to keep up momentum wise. Again, I thought Virgil looked really good against kind of physical opponents, and that was always how Forest were going to play. And again, I'm not being disrespectful to them. They were going to go long, and we handled that well. Thought Konate was good, and we were defending inside the Forest half. That's where we was up to. I think Costas was sloppy again. I think he needs to really get a bit of a run of form going. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's been Robbo's understudy for 2 years. He's not really played enough football to warrant being in a good run of form. But I would certainly play him at Bournemouth on Wednesday, which I'm sure we'll come on to later on, just to try and see if we can play him into some form because he's not in it currently. He looks like the weak link at the moment.
I thought he was better today than he was.
Yeah,
last week.
He wasn't terrible, but I don't think that. I just want to see more from him because I know there's more there. We've seen it, and I just feel like he's not playing to the level that he can currently. Is it a big problem with the way we play with this box midfield and Trent going in there that kind of the left back doesn't get forward as much as they used to, and it's not as integral to our play, so it's not really a huge problem. But I would like to see more from Costas. But yeah, the big thing for me, Chris, is 3 points, no problems, no injuries, and again, I'll say it because I can't get enough of it, clean sheet.
I think I want to talk about Trent actually because it looked like Trent enjoyed himself today. I thought he had a good game. We spoke about his role and whether we're convinced by it or not, and I still do have this like nostalgia about like seeing him at right back and what he was doing there, and hopefully at some point we will see that again. It's a good option to have, but I thought he did a lot of nice things today. Thought he looked like he was enjoying himself. Again, no, I don't think he had like a massive influence on the game, but I thought he played well. And maybe this is just how it's going to be now. It's like they want him on the ball in that centre back position. Right? He's not even really in midfield anymore. He's more like just Konate goes over to right back and Trent gets on the ball there. But I just liked that he was able to get away from people a few times, a little shimmy, and then went past them. And once you do that, it just opens things up for other people. Dom's obviously really good at that. Trent did it a few times, and I liked watching him today. Thought he looked in good form. I didn't think Costas was bad today. I thought Costas was better than he was. And also, you got to take into account who he was up against. Like Forest's best player is Gibbs White. He's a really, really good player. I like him. So Costas is having to deal with him, so he's not getting forward as much. So I thought Costas was fine today. I think it was a step in the right direction. So if we want to go on to the cup game then and what we think who's going to play in that, I'll start with Costas. Maybe play him for an hour, but I definitely wouldn't be wanting to overplay him because I think we need to protect him a little bit because we don't know if I suppose it'd be Gomez would be next in line because we don't know whether Luke Chambers would be up to play in Premier League football yet. We need to have a bit more of a look at him in the cups. But I would see, because we're playing on Wednesday, so we're doing Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. If you wanted to, you could pick your entire first team on Wednesday if you wanted to do it. I don't think we will, but I think we might go stronger than people maybe think. Maybe like 6 or 7 starters, and then you're bringing in the likes of Gomez, Endo, maybe Harvey, Curtis might come back in. I don't think we're going to see like kids and a load of changes. I don't think we'll do that on Wednesday. So maybe Costas to start and then Chambers to come on for the last half an hour or something.
Can I just come back to today a little bit? Because there's a couple of points I want to pick up on that you both made. Firstly, on Trent, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, like, are we in a situation... We've debated the merits of whether we're getting the best out of him in this position. But I think what we can say is that we're negating the worst of him, certainly, by exposing him at right back. So do you think that maybe we're not getting as much out of him offensively as we possibly could, but by negating what he was costing us from a defensive point of view, it might be like a net positive type situation?
Yeah, but you know, I was thinking about this. The thing that doesn't really add up is like he's still technically, when we haven't got the ball, he's still playing right back. But I'm not like tactically aware enough to understand why. But nobody's getting at us down that side anymore, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's to do with that change, or if it's to do with the midfield now, and we're pressing much better, and teams have not got as much time to pick that pass into the channel. But because, like, remember, it was like every game, the opposition, all they were focusing on was getting in down that channel, like behind Canate when Trent's up the pitch, and like then obviously Trent in midfield. Well, that still shouldn't really change the space in that channel. He's not at right back, is he? He's not like he's sitting in a four. So that space should still be there in theory, but no one's getting in down that side anymore. We seem to have like closed that off, and I don't know how we've done that. And like Trent's not really having to defend much, which is just weird. And I just think it's maybe we're just a better team now. We're just controlling games better and restricting opposition to not let them do that. But I don't know exactly why it is. It's like, you know, it's above my pay grade.
And Dan, on Virgil, like you mentioned, he was good again today, and I thought so also, and I thought he was really good last week. I think this is the first time I've had a chance to say this on the pod, but I think he looks really deadly focused this year. Like, he's cast aside all of the bollocks. He looks like he is back in business and laser focused on doing a job. And he's doing it really, really well. Today he did it well against physical forwards, last week as well. What do you attribute that to? Do you attribute it to an uptick in form from him, or the fact that he's getting more protection from the midfield now, or a little from column A, a little from column B?
Column A, column B, I would say column C as well, Chris, which is the club captain now. And I don't think that Virgil van Dijk will be under any illusions, despite the fact that he might have been saying publicly last season that I don't deserve the criticism that I'm getting. He will have known that the performances he was putting in last season at times were below his level. So I think he might have kind of accepted it. Obviously, publicly his image will be different, but privately he may well have accepted that he was below where he should be last season. And his form has improved. So I think it's all of those, but certainly there's more protection in midfield. There's so much more the energy and enthusiasm we have in midfield now. I still think there's plenty of question marks about McAllister. We've not really discussed him that much today, but you can do that when you win 3-3.
How do you think he played today?
Well, when you win 3-0, you can kind of like ignore the yellow card, and you know, like largely he played quite well. Again, I do think that he looks like the one who's going to get dispossessed and cost us a goal, but no real complaints about how he played. I just feel like he's wasted where he is. I think we could use his talents further forward. And then you go to question like, why does Endo not start? But we're going down rabbit holes here, which we've been discussing in other podcasts. Yeah. I'm sure Endo's time will come to start. Again, he's another one I expect will play on Wednesday. But on Van Dijk, much improved, and I think the way we're playing, and I think he's gone up a level, knowing that he's the club captain. I think he's kind of gone up a level, and that's good. You know, like that's kind of taking personal responsibility. I'm glad to see that, and I think it's really important that he wants to lead by example, and he is doing currently.
Good stuff, Dan. On McAllister, Dave, he's adapted to this role. I mean, we can talk about how well he's done it, but he has done it with zero complaints. The thing I noticed today, above all else, is that I feel like he's itching to do more. He wants to get forward. He wants to get shots off. Like, he's absolutely playing within himself right now. And if we're judging him on his performances in the six, we're not really doing justice to what we're eventually probably going to see from him if we get Andre in or if we get another six in or whatever. And then it's him and Dom in those positions, the two number eights. Like, that's an enthralling prospect for me.
Yeah, I thought he played well today. I'm kind of with Dan in the sense, sometimes when the ball gets played into him, I am like wincing a little bit, thinking, oh, is he going to get caught from behind or something here? He's going to get dispossessed. But he didn't. He played well. I don't remember him losing the ball much. Good passing, just got about the pitch well. The booking's just one of them things. I mean, if you play in that position, I feel like you're going to pick up a lot of bookings because it's your job to stop counter-attacks like that. So, and I did think the booking was a little bit soft. But no, good performance. I want to see him playing further forward, but I've wanted that for 2-3 months. It's not really happened. He's just in the six at the moment, and I can't really see that changing until, possibly if Andre comes in January, and even then, it might take him a while to get up to speed anyway. So we might see McAllister play in this position for the next, 3-4 months or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope not. I'm really keen to see him play in the position that we bought him for, and I think it's a little bit unfair of him because he's had a tough time of it adapting to that position. But like I say, he's done it without complaint, so good for him. So anything else you guys want to touch on about today before we do have a brief look at Bournemouth away on Wednesday night?
Nothing springs to mind now.
Just fair play to the Forest fans for the justice for the 97 banner before the game.
I didn't even see that, but they were good last season as well, to be fair.
Yeah,
which
so
is
it's
a complete about face from them because they were knobheads for so long, and it's like the pennies finally dropped, and they've been really good last couple of games, which is
that
nice
FA
to
Cup
see.
game last year when they left the 97 seats unattended was really nice as well. So credit where it's due there. So moving on to midweek, Bournemouth away in the League Cup. I guess it depends how strong Bournemouth go in this one as well, because they're fighting for their lives at the bottom of the table. They're probably not going to play their first 11. Dan, I think probably with what we can put out compared to what they're going to put out, it should be a relatively comfortable night for us.
You would think so, Chris. I think you just touched upon kind of what me and Dave were talking about earlier before you joined, which was I don't see Bournemouth taking that game too seriously. They've got far bigger fish to fry. They're perilously close to the relegation zone, although they had a good win against Burnley yesterday. That is a big win for them. With that in mind, I think that they will rotate quite heavily, and we will rotate heavily also, but we've obviously got the better squad, so it's a great chance to get your Kelleher's a run of form. So Kelleher, Endo, get Cody Gakpo back up to speed. Things like it's a real opportunity. Like in the past, when it's been like laser focus on the Champions League and the Premier League, I've kind of been a bit guilty of viewing the League Cup as a bit of an inconvenience. But nowadays, I see it as an opportunity for your fringe players, your not informed players, your kids, a chance to get them on the field as much as possible. And certainly, like Kelleher, for example, the dude took a bit of flack on Thursday for their goal, and rightly so. It was.
What did you make of that?
Goalkeeper. It's the goalkeeper's fault. The goalkeeper he started to come and then changed his mind, and then when you do that, he started to retreat. Then you're in no man's land, and despite all that, the Toulouse players just hit it hard. He's not hit it with any finesse, and it's gone straight through Kelleher as well. The Southampton game at the end of last season is one which people like to kind of flag as well. It's like the dude's not played. He's not in form. He's not got any kind of match sharpness. So I kind of disregarded that one. But I want to see Kelleher playing in these games, and I'm sure he will. That's the way his career, Liverpool career is going. Is the cup goalkeeper. So yeah, we are going to rotate, and we should have way too much for Bournemouth, depending on how seriously they take it. But I don't think you're going to see like the likes of Dom Solanke in their team. I think they will want to have a clear run at their next league game. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but that will be the.
It's Man City away.
I was just going to say it just come to mind. Yeah, they're going to they're going to lose heavily next week, no matter what. So I'm not too sure how they'll go, but we will rotate, and we still should have too much. And if we don't have too much starting, we should have too much off the bench.
Yeah. I guess, Dave, it's like obviously progression in a tournament that we've won more than anybody is important, but by the same token, we want to keep the squad involved. It's been talked about quite a lot recently. What Jota said about sort of how the runs in the lesser competitions have kept everybody involved and kept everybody sharp. I want to see that continue. Obviously, I hated the Liverpool seasons where we meekly surrendered in the domestic cup competitions, even though they're not the primary goals. So hopefully we can put a team out on Wednesday that does a passable job and gets us through to the next round.
I think we'll go pretty strong. I think Bournemouth will go strong as well. I didn't know they were playing Man City next weekend, but that's even more reason for them to go all out against us. It just annoys me when like teams are like not taking the cup seriously, because it's like, well, when are you ever likely to, if you've got a chance to get to a final, maybe somebody like Bournemouth, why would they not go all out to do it? And yeah, I know like they're trying to fight relegation and stuff, but I don't see why you can't do both. It's not like they're playing in Europe. It's different for, like, say West Ham, for example, who were playing in Europe, and then if they rest players for the cup, and I think they did, and I think they got knocked out, didn't they? That's understandable to me, but it's not understandable when a team that's got nothing else going on and the resting players for cup games, like Everton do it all the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You should be trying to win something. You haven't won anything like since fucking Adam was a lad.
1995.
Yeah, and then I don't get it. And so I think Bournemouth should go strong against us, and especially because they got Man City at the weekend. They're not getting anything from that game, so they may as well like try to. It's a home game in the cup. They should go for it, and I think they will. But I also think we're not going to be putting out some like a scratch team with like 3 kids in there getting brought in. They'll be on the bench. Maybe get like, if the game's going well, you might bring some on. But I think looking at it, you'll go Kelleher in goal, possibly Trent rested, but I wouldn't even be surprised if Trent started with Gomez and Matip centre backs. Obviously, you've got Kwanzaa who could come in, and Gomez could play right back.
I'd do that.
I think it's a toss-up what happens there. I would not be the least bit surprised if Trent started. Costas starting at left-back for me, and then you maybe bring him off later on, as I said earlier. Midfield, Endo, Harvey, Curtis for me.
Yeah.
And then forwards, Gakpo starting, and then I'm probably going to start Mo, and I'm probably going to play.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. We don't know what's happening with Diaz. I just think he'll play him because it's like Sunday, Wednesday. It's not that, and Mo's like just the supreme athlete. He didn't start last week, so it's not like he's played too many games. I think Mo will start, and then the other position you're looking at, it depends on what happens with Diaz. If he's not available, then you're making a choice between Jota and Darwin to start on the left. Whoever starts, the other one comes on. Don't know whether Ben Doak will be back or not. They've not really said anything about that, just that he had like a slight muscle injury, which usually means like 2 months. So, and it's looking that way because it was like 3 weeks ago when he got injured. He's not played since. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to have him back just because, apart from the fact I like watching him play, it also allows you to, even if he's on the bench, it allows you to bring someone off after 65 minutes rather than them having to play a full game. So, yeah, I think we'll go a pretty strong team. And then hopefully, if you can get the game in hand, then you can start making some changes then. You'll have probably like Chambers and McConnell on the bench. Depends who else is fit, if Doak's back. Klopp name-checked Bobby Clark last week, but he's injured as well, so don't know whether he'll be back in time. So it's probably just going to be like a really strong team with probably the same squad that played today, and some of the players who were on the bench today will come in the starting lineup. But I think it's like everyone who's involved today will be involved in the squad on Wednesday. I don't think we'll be leaving Van Dijk at home and Salah at home. I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll be on the bench if they're not starting. And yeah, I think we'll win. I think we'll go through and keep the momentum going, because it's going back to the Jota thing again, but he's right. You know, it keeps everyone involved, and it's not just like a case of keeping the fringe players involved. It's also like it's good for like the confidence of like, you know, the forwards are getting goals all the time. That you know, they're not having to play 90 minutes in every game, but if they're getting an hour, like, you know, Darwin, for example, played an hour the other night, and then he's played, what did he get today? Like something like 70 minutes, something like that, 75 maybe. So you're not overplaying them, but they're involved in every game, which means they're getting chances to score and create goals for teammates and stuff. And I just think everything's like, they're all feeding off each other and that. So yeah, I like what we've been doing, and I really want us to win, because it's not even, at this point, it's not even about wanting to win the cup. I just want us to stay in the cup. You know, and then
right.
when you get to the latter stages, then you start thinking about winning it. I just want to stay in it at the moment, because I think it's good for us. You're getting like people games who are not necessarily. If you're only playing in the league and you've got a squad as big as ours, it's a problem, because people are not getting minutes. Whereas this is a chance that, you know, the likes of Endo and Gomez and that, you're getting them all involved, and you're able to rotate it around, mix and match. And I just think it's better for us to be in this situation. Yeah. So really want to win that game on Wednesday.
Right, and if we win on Wednesday, we're like 2 ties away from Wembley as well. So
I was just going to say, maybe the floodlights will go off at the Vitality Stadium on Wednesday, and you'll just hear the Undertaker's dong, and the lights will come back on, and Thiago will be finally fit.
Thiago, oh my God, he's not even in training yet.
£250,000 a week.
Yeah, every time he gets close, he just has another setback and he's out. It's like, you know, and Bajcetic as well. That's frustrating, because we really want to see him. You know, the progress he made last year.
As much as it is frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's one of those when like someone's out with a long-term injury, and they come back and then they start picking up other stupid little injuries, just the body just like trying to compensate for it and that. So I don't think it's anything serious that he's got, but again, it's just really frustrating, because he was so good last year. I just wanted to see more of him.
Nice. Yeah, definitely, I agree. So anything else you guys want to add about today, about Wednesday, about other games that happened this weekend, namely Manchester United getting smacked in the Manchester derby yet again?
Yeah.
Before we call it a night?
We may as well mention that, because I see that Manchester City got a dodgy penalty call from Michael Oliver, who just a few short weeks ago, as we well know, had a business trip to the United Arab Emirates. Suspicious? Or not suspicious?
Didn't send off Kovacic like the week after.
Yeah.
Coming back as well.
And there was also one where he evened it out later in the game, where Maguire was holding Haaland for about like 5 or 6 seconds in the penalty area, and they didn't even call for the VAR. But the game was already out of sight by then. So, like you always say, Dave, like the only decisions that go against Manchester City is when it's irrelevant. Yeah. So
it is like last week, the second booking that Akanji got, but you know they're winning the game. It's late on in the game. They're already winning, but if they give these little decisions, it's like, well, look, you know, City had a player sent off harshly there. It never happens like at an important stage of any game, you know. And that's the funny thing, is like when we were complaining about like what happened at Tottenham, and you've got fans from all these other teams just like knobheads coming in, oh yeah, well, what about the handball we should have had like 3 years ago? You know, did we get that game replayed? Fans from all of these teams, everyone's chiming in, and then you got Man City backing off through the hedge like Homer Simpson. Like, yeah, we want no part of this because we've got no examples that we can give. We can't be giving examples of being screwed because it never happens. And it's like, is that a coincidence? Is it fuck? I didn't even know Michael Oliver was the referee today, but again, if he's over there taking money and it's like it's Man City's chairman is like the head of like the FA over there who were paying those officials. So essentially, those referees are getting paid by Manchester City's chairman, and then they're being allowed to referee games involving Manchester City or involving teams who are like rivals to Manchester City. It's like, how is this even being allowed to happen? It's mental. It's mental that it's happening, and it's not being seen as a big thing. Even if there's no corruption going on, even if there's nothing untoward, you cannot be seen for like the possibility that there is. And it's clear that they're compromised by that, and yet here they are getting appointed to Man City games when they've been taking money from Man City's chairman. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole podcast on this by itself, but that's another thing for another time. You guys ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I need to get my boys involved in some of this UAE action because it's pretty easy.
You do that shit, Dan Vito. Absolutely. I'm still gutted I didn't get the Forrest Gump impression from you, but maybe that's another thing for another time. I have to practice that in the background.
Someone asked me to do a De Niro on the forum.
I feel like that's in the wheelhouse.
Yeah. You talking to me? You talking to me? I'm the only one here. You must be talking to me.
That's not bad, that.
It's not good.
That's an upgrade. No, it's not bad though, Dave.
I definitely prefer The Godfather.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. So Dan will be back with more impressions on a podcast soon. Dave and I will be back after Bournemouth on Wednesday night. Thank you very much for tuning in. Another good win for the Reds. Again, our thoughts go out with the Diaz family. Hopefully by the time you listen to this, it will all be resolved. But until the next game, we will catch you soon.
Well, the best word I can say, but will describe this was boom. Ooh, what was this? It was really good.